Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with a Pastor. We are looking at the Gospel of Mark, and we're in Mark chapter 10. I mentioned many people have said that Mark just gives enough material about Jesus to make it sense, because the main thrust of his book is Passion Week, the week that Jesus is crucified on the cross. And we have seen they have been traveling from Galilee to Jerusalem. If you have traveled to the Holy Land with me, you've been on this route because we go spend a few days in Galilee when we first get there, and then we go. In the morning we go to the Jordan River. That's right there, not far from the Sea of Galilee, and we visit there, and then we take the bus ride right down the Jordan River Valley. We stop at Beth Shean, if you remember, it was a Roman city we would stop at, and then we would go on down to Jericho, and then up to Jerusalem. That's the same route that Jesus took, and we have seen that he has been on the route, and Mark has talked about the different events that have happened on the way. And now they've gotten to Jericho. Jericho is very interesting. It's right there, not far from the Dead Sea, which is the lowest place on earth. But right from Jericho, you go straight up, and it is straight up. You're going right up a mountain. It's about 14 miles up to Jerusalem, but it's straight up a mountain. And so when the pilgrims would come and they would hit Jericho, they had all these psalms of descent that they would start singing and chanting and praying on the way to the temple. And so Jericho was an exciting milestone for the pilgrims to hit. Jesus is going to hit Jericho. There's a couple things that happened there. Mark records one of them. One of them he doesn't record. He doesn't record about Zacchaeus. But we're going to read about blind Bartimaeus today. This is in verse 46 of chapter 10. Then they came to Jericho as Jesus and his disciples, together with a large crowd, were leaving the city. A blind man, Bartimaeus, that is, the son of Timaeus, was sitting by the roadside, begging. When he heard that it was Jesus of Nazareth, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." Many rebuked him and told him to be quiet, but he shouted all the more, "Son of David, have mercy on me." Jesus stopped and said, "Call him." So they called to the blind man, "Cheer up, on your feet. He's calling you." Throwing his cloak aside, he jumped to his feet and came to Jesus. "What do you want me to do for you?" Jesus asked him. The blind man said, "Rabbi, I want to see." "Go," said Jesus, "your faith has healed you." Immediately he received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. So apparently Jesus and his disciples have picked up a pretty good crowd walking with them. And as Jesus is leaving Jericho, and they're heading to Jerusalem, going straight up, probably going to be singing those songs of ascent. But as they were coming through, there was a blind man who begged on the side of the road, named blind Bartimaeus, and he starts yelling because he hears that it's Jesus, and he begins yelling and screaming, trying to get Jesus' attention. And he goes, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." And begins yelling. The people around him trying to get him to be quiet, but he won't. He just gets louder. And Jesus notices him. He says, "Bring him here." And so he comes there. And Jesus says, "What do you want?" And he says, "I want to see." And Jesus heals him. And that's a pretty neat thing. There's two or three things about this that I really like in this story. Number one is that Sometimes we need to go to Jesus just really yelling when in our lives, because we may not, I don't think you need to do that to get Jesus' attention, but sometimes we feel like we do. But we need to come to Jesus. And then Jesus says, what do you want? Well, you need to know what you want when you get there. And he asked Jesus that his sight be restored. And Jesus restores his sight. And then he begins to follow Jesus. Now, I understand where he's following him to. He's following him to Jerusalem. And the first thing he's going to get to see is Jesus go and have the triumphant entry, which will be next week's lesson. We'll start with that. But what a day for this blind man. But it's what a day for anybody that meets Jesus. I hope today you'll follow Jesus wherever you go, because he's there. Well, that does it for this week. We have gotten Jesus' journey down to Jericho. He'll be in Jerusalem in chapter 11. And so starting Monday, we'll be studying about what happened on Passion Week. We start Passion Week on Friday. He probably goes up, rest on the Sabbath, and then on the first day of the week, we think he probably rested in Bethany, maybe at Lazarus' house, somewhere around there. And then he'll start his ministry going on. Or this could be the first day of the week. He might have rested there in Jericho, might have stayed with Zacchaeus, I don't know. But he's heading towards Jerusalem. And it's an exciting part of the Bible, very interesting. The Bible's just terrifically interesting. Well, that does it for today. And I hope that if you're one of our church members, I'll see you Sunday. We had a good crowd last week for our dedication, but I'd like to see our crowds continue. You have a blessed day, and I'll see you either Sunday or next Monday. Bye now.